What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. We're back today here on NBA 2K24, here for another 10-year rebuild, but there's a twist today. We're not just going to be doing it in the modern era. We're going to be going back into the new era that's in 2K24, that being the Lebron era, as today we're going to be doing the young Stephen Curry Warriors. Before we get in today's video, make sure you guys drop a like on this one, especially drop a like if you want to see more 10-year rebuilds in the throwback universe. Of course, this being in the LeBron era. So if you guys want to continue to see these, make sure you drop a like, and of course subscribe as well if you are new to this channel. As always, greatly appreciated. Currently on the road to 50,000 subs. So yes, we are in the LeBron era. One cool thing about this as well is cap space should be accurate since we're playing in the eras thing. So that should, have the cap space like go up and up. Obviously, one thing that was introduced in the MyEras thing was that like the league reflects the rule changes, which is really cool, which is why I'm happy to maybe make this a series where we do 10-year rebuilds of these throwback teams. So I'm starting with the Warriors and a young Stephen Curry at 22 years old, along with Monte Ellis as well. Doral Wright, but the rest of the roster might just be like filler players. Some of these guys might actually be real. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. I should probably have double checked that, but it's no big deal. As long as we know Steph and Monte Ellis at the very top, that's the important thing. I can't imagine this team's going to be very good. Obviously, no Jeremy Lin's a real person, but like, let's just simulate the rest of this first season. Obviously, we look like we're about to be really, really bad. Obviously, in this upcoming draft class, we get the opportunity to potentially draft Klay Thompson, but we're looking to add a second potential star next to Stephen Curry for the foreseeable future. Kyrie Irving is in this draft as well. Klay, as I said, goes in this draft. Kawhi is here. So we're just going to simulate year number one. Obviously, there's not much we can do right now. And then I'll see you guys once we're in the offseason, because there's a lot of changes we'll need to make when we're there. So at the end of year one, LeBron James is your MVP. DeMarcus Cousins is rookie of the year on the Kings. Six-man goes to Ginobili. Boga, defensive player. Ibaka, most improved. And Tom Thibodeau, coach of the year on the Bulls. And Park is your executive. But other than that, here's your NBA first team. I'm imagining Stephen Curry made one of these because we were actually somewhat decent, but he actually didn't, surprisingly. As far as all rookies are concerned, they had Cousins, John Wall, Griffin, Paul George, Favors. And here's some of your other rookies. Jeremy Lin actually made one, which is interesting. But we did not make the playoffs, unfortunately. If we take a look at the end of the season stats, this is what it looked like. That's actually playoff stats. That's not what I meant to go to. But at the end of the season stats, this is what things actually look like if I can get there correctly. Holy. All right, so here are your end of season stats. You actually had 24 from Monte Ellis, 22 from Stephen Curry, 16 from Doral Wright, 9 from Rodney, and then 9 from Vladimir, and then 7 from Jeremy Lin. So we also finished up, I believe, as like the 9th seed in the West. So we were kind of on the bubble of making the playoffs at 40 and 42. But let's go on to see who wins the championship real quick, as we are going to have the Thunder, the Mavericks, and then you'll have like the Bulls, Heat, Mavericks. Okay, the Bulls go on to beat, I believe, the Mavericks in 7 games. Yes, they did. So the Bulls are your champions. As far as retirements are concerned, you got like Shaq, Kurt Thomas, Juwan Howard, Jerry Stackhouse, and we can go ahead and look at the historic changes, which is going to be a really cool feature throughout these 10-year rebuilds if you guys want to continue to see these. So historical changes. So we got adopted an incremental luxury tax. Okay. Team branding, changed the logo of the Wizards, and then changed the logo uniforms with 4 of the Knicks. So I'm not going to obviously mess with any of those. We'll leave those all the way they are. Draft lottery, of course, going to be a very important step of this rebuild, because obviously we're looking to add more talent to this team. We're only projected pick number 14 though, unfortunately, so it doesn't look like we're going to get any crazy lottery luck here. 0.5% chance of jumping up, and we do stay at 14, unfortunately. So sucks for us, but it is what it is. As far as staff is concerned, Keith Smart's our head coach. I don't know if there's any better candidates. We have like Popovich out here, Budenholzer. So yeah, I mean, if we want to go ahead and set ourselves up, I think we might as well just try to get a good head coach while we can. So Stauffer is here, Popovich, Jacob Underwood, Mike D'Antoni is someone we could bring in. I honestly might go for Mike D'Antoni. That sounds kind of fun. Jerry Sloan also is interesting. Frank Vogel is here. You got Mason. Give me Mike D'Antoni with Stephen Curry. That sounds kind of interesting. So we're going to Mike D'Antoni for this rebuild, for this 10-year rebuild, and keep him around for as long as we want to. I'm going to grab the rest of this coaching staff. I'll see you guys on draft night with what we take at 14 to start this 10-year rebuild next to Stephen Curry. Today's video is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a player props app that's available on mobile or desktop. It's simply you against the numbers, you against the projections. They have all kinds of sports outside of just basketball if you wanted to go ahead and put some entries on some other sports. When you go into basketball, they have also all kinds of stats. This isn't even everything that they have, just not showing everything. But basically, you look at the stat that they give you. If you think Kevin Durant's going to go over 20.5 points, and you go over on Kevin Durant. Let's say we think Jeremy Sochan's going to go less than 9.5, then we go less on that. It's that simple. It's you against numbers. That's all it really is. You can do 2 players for 3 times your entry, all the way up to 6 players to 25 times your entry. If you want to go ahead and use Prize Picks, use my code down in the description below. Use code Crushables. They match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. It enhances your viewing experience when you watch basketball games. It's a ton of fun. So go ahead, sign up for Prize Picks and use code Crushables. I may or may not look into Monte Ellis trades depending on who we get at 14, but let's just go ahead and take a look at what we got going on. So Clippers are going to get Kyrie Irving. Number 2 is going to go Derek Williams. I think that's how it went in real life too. Cantor's number 3. Toronto is going to go Kawhi Leonard, so he goes there earlier. Joe Val is going to the Jazz. You got the Nets taking Clay, so unfortunately, we're not going to bring Clay back. Jen Vesley. We got Reggie Jackson. We got Jimmy Butler. Oh man, if he would have fell to me, that would have been amazing. Alec Burks. I don't know if I'm going to get somebody really good to fall to me. I'm not sure if there's anybody that I can't think if there's a guy here that hasn't been taken. So we have like what? Bismack Biyombo, Brandon Knight, Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker is probably the best player still here, honestly. Chandler Parsons, was kind of decent at the beginning. Isaiah Thomas this year. Kenneth Faried, Jimmer Fredette, Marcus Morris Sr., Tobias Harris. I think we got to take Kemba Walker. I mean, he's the best player, I believe, out of this draft class that's still left. So, yeah, I'm going to take Kemba Walker at 14. I'm not really sure how I love the fit with him and Steph. And obviously, we have Monte Ellis, but we're taking another guard in this situation. So, I'm not too happy with that. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really recognize any of these guys. So I'm just going to let the CPU do whatever they want there. So Kyrie goes 1. At number 14, we got ourselves a 77 overall. So yeah, as I said, Bismack was a 78. I was not aware of that. Wow, Brandon Knight was a 78 as well. Jimmer Fredette, 77. Kemba Walker, welcome. And then Scott Hiller, I'm not going to worry about signing. Player options, we got Stephen Curry. We're going to accept, of course. Qualifying offers, nothing going on there. And then free agency. So as I said, free agency should be fixed where they're like, in future... past like 2010 rebuilds that I've done, obviously the cap space has just been like way out of proportion compared to what it was in real life. So it's cool to see that it's actually like reflected on what it should have been in real life here. So, I mean, we kind of need a little bit of everything. We just drafted Kemba Walker. I'm not really sure what I want to do with him just yet. I'm not sure if I want to keep Kemba and Steph together. Monte Ellis, of course, I do like, but we'll see what we want to do with him potentially. We have Doro Wright at the power forward spot for now. We don't really have ourselves a center. That's like one position I would love to fix this offseason. So, as far as our cap space situation is concerned at this moment, we have what it says negative 17 million, but of course we have more than that. So after bird rights and all that stuff. But Andre Miller, Andre Karolinko, is there anybody here that like I should be dying to bring back? I don't have any bird rights to anybody. Carmelo, could I sign Carmelo Anthony? So we don't have that much cap space. So I saw Greg Oden, which I found interesting. He is restricted. Obviously, he had his injury issues, but if he wasn't injured, it kind of makes it interesting to see how much he would have went up in overall. So Greg Oden is someone I'm definitely looking at. Wilson Chandler. We got Landry Fields, Jerome Butler. You know what? Let's take a chance on Greg Oden. I'm going to give him a 4-year deal. In this scenario, injuries will be off, so he is protected from that fact. So we're going to sign Greg Oden as our first deal in free agency. And I know what you're thinking. Greg Oden was a bust, but, obviously he had his injury issues. But regardless, I'm happy with him. So now all we need to do is sign a small forward. So we have like Mike Dunleavy. We have like MyEras. We have Craig Smith. But Matt Barnes, obviously as a veteran here, wouldn't be too bad. OJ Mayo, Sean Marion, or Shannon Brown. What the hell was I reading? Aaron Aflalo at 25 years old. That doesn't sound too bad. T-Mac, Daquan Cook, Corey Brewer. Corey Brewer at 25 years old, 6'9". I think we could easily move him to small forward and have him be our starting small forward for the rest of how long he wants to stay here. And we got him. So boom, just like that, we got Corey Brewer. So now we kind of have a starting 5. Our bench still isn't great, but our starting 5 is starting to look a little bit more competent. So Corey Brewer is going to go up to 79 at small forward, which is cool. I'll go ahead and kind of make his backup position power forward because he is 6'9". I think he'd play that as well. So it'd be Steph, Kemba Walker, it'd be Monte Ellis, it'd be Corey Brewer, and then we have Dwell Wright, and we have Greg Oden. So again, our bench isn't great. Still looking at the possibility of maybe trading Monte Ellis, but I think we're going to roll into next season like this. Again, bench still needs to definitely be improved. Let's say like Leon Powe, however, to be our backup 5. I mean, we just kind of need anything at this point, but he's going to go to the Memphis Grizzlies, so we can't get him actually. Nazir Mohammed, like anything is going to be better than what we have, and he says no as well. So far, we're striking out. Keith Bogans, I mean, or even like Marquez Daniels, like just give me a 2, and I'll sign like Maurice Evans. Anything is going to be better than our bench that we have right now. So, and then finally, a backup 5, like, I don't know, Eaton Thomas. Sign me those guys. We're not getting anybody so far. We literally cannot get a minimum to come over here for some reason. Keith Bogans, can I get you at least? No, I can literally get no one. Minimums are flying off the board. Okay, I guess I'm getting a G Leaguer, whatever. Welcome to the team, George Brooks, potentially. And then just give me Roger Mason, maybe. and then I'll get Peterson. I don't know if I can get those guys. Okay, we got somebody. Boom. Bench is still going to suck really badly, but player regression, Steph is up to a 90 overall, so that's great. We got Monte Ellis up to an 85, Greg Oden up to an 81, Corey Brewer up to a 78, and then obviously, you know, some of the bench guys we signed, nothing too crazy there. But let's get into next season. We're going to go ahead and load a 2012 draft class really quickly. I'm going to have to scan through it because 2K is, you know, obviously, as we know, 2K's draft classes aren't perfect. They have a bunch of, you know, filler guys, so we're not going to use those. But let's look at the rotation before I do that. So this is your rotation going into next season. We're going to go 9-man rotation and shrink our bench utilization down to like 50. So it'll be Steph, Monte Ellis, Corey Brewer, Doyle Wright, Greg Oden, Kemba Walker, George Brooks, Roger Mason, and Morris Peterson. I definitely could see a world where a playoff team this year. We'll see how things go. I'll see you guys at the end of year number 2. So we are actually at the trade deadline as we are under 500. I am going to go ahead and ship off Monte Ellis here. I'm going to be sending him to the Clippers for DeAndre Jordan, who's still only 23 years old. And I also get a top 3 protected pick in 2014. Who knows what that maybe could turn into in the future. Monte Ellis is still really good for us, but I think it's better to go ahead and just sell him off now. Get this draft pick, get a young center in DeAndre Jordan, and move on from here. So 24 and 27. I'm also hoping that makes us a little bit worse this season. We can go ahead and start Kemba Walker for the rest of the year. Obviously, again, I'm not a big fan of having Kemba Walker and Steph as my backcourt of the future or anything by any means. But we can go ahead and let him start for the rest of the season. I don't think I'll keep Kemba Walker very long. I think we'll go ahead and move on from him eventually. He just obviously was like the easiest guy to go ahead and draft in that draft that was left available for us. But now we have DeAndre Jordan and Greg Oden as our center rotation. We'll figure out what we're going to do with Greg Oden and Jordan in the future. But Greg Oden so far this season is averaging 11 and 15 and 3 blocks. So he's been an absolute beast. So, I mean, if nothing else, we have a really good center rotation so far. But let's go ahead and submit the rest of the season. We'll see how the rest of the season finishes out. And I'll see you guys then. So at the end of year number 2, we actually finished up as the 5th seed in the Western Conference. I thought we were going to get much worse at the deadline, but it was kind of the opposite. We got much better. So 24 from Stephen Curry, 17 from Doyle Wright, so he's actually doing pretty good. Kemba Walker, 16. As I told you guys, the trade deadline, Greg Oden's been amazing. DeAndre Jordan, 7 and 9 and 2 blocks as well. So our center rotation right now is phenomenal. Brooks with 9 and then 7 from Corey Brewer. So not too shabby. All around really nice, but I don't know if we're like a championship team by any means. Like, we're the 5th seed. It's cool. But we get to play the Spurs in this series, so I don't know how this is going to go. Let's just make our round and see what kind of fight we put up. And we are going to beat the Spurs in 5. Okay, I guess we're a lot better than I thought we were. I know Stephen Curry's a beast and all, but I was not expecting this kind of run here. And one thing I actually didn't notice in 29 points per game so far, by the way, from Steph. One thing I didn't notice is I didn't realize how much this man Ronald Turner is making. I have no idea why he's making this much money. But yeah, he's locked in for 5 years on a crazy contract, so we're gonna have to move on from him. I didn't realize he was making that much money. Chamberlain's making quite a bit of money as well. So I guess we have salaries that we could trade away. Don't know if those guys are real or not. I'm a casual, I guess, if they were. Somebody current round. And we are going to almost beat the Phoenix Suns, get the Western Conference Finals. Okay, so we have some salaries. We have Kemba Walker, and we have that extra draft pick we just got as the Thunder go on to win the championship with Kevin Durant as your Finals MVP. Obviously, we're gonna have another first-round pick. Derek Fisher, Dan Pierre, Camby, all retiring. Let's see what historic changes look like this time around. So we have Brooklyn and then obviously Charlotte changing there. Draft lottery time. Unfortunately, our pick is not a lottery. I would have loved to have been a lottery team again, but instead, we're going to end up with pick. What pick do we have? I actually don't even see us right now. We end up with pick number. Why can't I even see our... All right, so let's just do this slowly because I cannot for the life of me. Oh, yeah, the Nets have our pick. Okay. Interesting. I did not know that. That's why I didn't see it. So, staff signing. We got Mike D'Antoni still the head coach. We're going to go ahead and leave that the way it is. All right, on draft night, we don't have a draft pick like I thought we did. So, I guess it's good that we made the playoffs. I wasn't aware we didn't even have our own pick. But yeah, no picks here. Obviously, we got the Clippers pick in the future. But now it's time to figure out what we're going to do with Mr. Turner because I'm not keeping this $12 million on us right now. It just doesn't make any sense. Obviously, with Stephen Curry still on a really small contract, we can go ahead and try to keep him. Or try to sign someone in free agency just by dumping him. Or we could try to maybe like flip him and Kemba Walker for something. I don't know if we think that's the best idea. Maybe keeping Kemba and Steph is a great idea. I'm not sure. But I definitely want to scan around the league and kind of see what I can maybe get for a guy like Kemba Walker, who has tremendous trade value right now, by the way. I don't want Bogut and Maggette. And then we have Kevin Martin, Louis Scola. I don't like any of those offers right now. So we're just going to go straight to player options since we don't have a draft pick. And let's see what it looks like. So Steph, we're going to accept. Jarrett Humphries, we're going to decline. And then qualifying offers, George Brooks is a free agent. I'm going to decline that as well. I don't really see the point of bringing him back. Of course, we have other guys. So Chris Paul, like, do we have money for like Chris Paul? So no. Money we could sign. We have like DJ Augustine money. Yeah, so there's nothing great here, Boris Diaw. Although we could dump somebody. Of course, we have a lot of contracts we don't need. And we probably could get to signing like a Dwight Howard. I'm not going to go for him probably. But like, I mean, Kevin Love. There was once upon a time a lot of rumors about Kevin Love in Golden State. Here's restricted free agent. But, I mean, imagine Kevin Love with DeAndre Jordan and Greg Oden. I mean, he'd be like the perfect co-star to have. And we could probably keep Kemba Walker around as well. Although I don't love the Kemba Steph fit. I mean, we might just roll with it, I guess. I don't know. So I think the best thing to do is, I think it's just best to dump Ronald Turner if we can. So let's try to dump Ronald Turner. I'm going to offer like a couple seconds to do so. I have no idea why he has this much money. So let's just try to see what we can get for him. So the Celtics are willing to take him on. We're going to get a 2013 second round pick from the Boston Celtics. We'll go ahead and do just that. And now they should give us money to potentially go after like a Kevin Love in free agency, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to sign Kevin Love to a 4-year deal. Don't know if Minnesota's going to match this or not, but we're going to give it our best shot to try to get him. Russell Westbrook, don't really want him because obviously we have Kemba and Steph right now. Dwight Howard, of course I want Dwight Howard, but we do have DeAndre Jordan, Greg Oden, so I think we'll move on from that. Roy Hibbert, Nicholas Batum is another interesting option. George Hill. I'm kind of throwing all my eggs in the Kevin Love basket. Let's see. Okay, so he accepts another offer. He's going back to Minnesota, so we don't get Kevin Love. I mean, I could go after Dwight Howard technically. He is unrestricted. Could have Steph and Dwight Howard for foreseeable future. Or we could just wait. Brook Lopez, also not a bad, interesting option. Not yet a shooter. Of course, he develops that later in his career. Eric Gordon, also interesting. 23 years old. We could have him play next to Steph. There's a lot of interesting options here, but I'm not really sure I love any of them right now. I might just roll. But Steph is also making like really cheap money right now. So it might be best to go ahead and take advantage of that. So do we just sign Dwight Howard? Like, do we just not like think about it? Like Dwight Howard, of course we do have good centers, but Dwight Howard is someone, if you can get him, which we're not going to be able to, by the way, you go for him. Russell Westbrook, restricted. KG is 36 years old. Don't really want him. Darren Williams. Brook Lopez is also another interesting guy, restricted. Eric Gordon, I'm thinking about. Roy Hibbert. Nicholas Batum. I mean, I don't know if I want to throw all my money at Nicholas Batum. We have Corey Brewer. He's 6'8". He would be a nice starter, but I don't know. I'm just not really loving the idea of that. Maybe we should have just went out and tried to make a trade for someone. So maybe we'll do that instead. We open up some money. We have these picks. I don't love any of the options here. So let's try to see if we can maybe go get a trade done through the trade market. I've made my decision on who I want to try to get. Although Kemba Walker's great, there's another guy we could go get instead, and he is on the Pacers, and that is Paul George. I mean, Paul George and Steph as a duo makes a lot more sense than Kemba and obviously Steph. So we're going to go try to talk to the Pacers about the idea of giving us Paul George. I'm going to offer Kemba Walker to get this done. I'm going to offer my 2013 Warriors unprotected, although I would love to keep it. But I want to try to get Paul George if I can. I'll offer that Clippers pick as well. They're not going to agree to it right away. I don't know if Chamberlain does anything for them. I'll throw Doral right in there if I have to as well. So let's say we did this for Paul George. They still don't agree. I'll throw Chamberlain in there. They're not going to agree to it. Maybe we can't get Paul George like I thought we might be able to. I mean, Paul George and Steph, I'll go one more first rounder and we get Paul George. So Paul George is going to be our dynamic duo next to Stephen Curry. I know there's a lot to give up, but I think it's going to be well worth it. So Paul George, we can move him to the 2 or the 3. He does go down, so I'm going to go ahead and leave him as a small forward. So we're going to leave him at small forward. Fix his secondary position to shooting guard. And then Corey Brewer, although he went up, we're going to have to play him at the 2 most likely. So we're going to have him play the starting shooting guard spot. He could also play the 4 if we wanted him to. We have Greg Oden and DeAndre Jordan as our center rotation. Now we just simply need to sign a power forward. And we still have money to go out there and sign someone if we wanted to as well, which we might have to go ahead and do. So shooting guard might be our best bet to go after. So like we could bring in Eric Gordon right now. I don't know if they would allow us to do so, but we're going to go ahead and try to offer him. We actually have a bunch of money now. So I'm going to offer Eric Gordon a contract, and then the rest is probably going to be spent on the bench. So let's go try to get Eric. Let's see if Eric, actually, we can get Dwight Howard. I did not expect him to accept that. You know what? Give me Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, Paul George. That's great. Dwight Howard, welcome to the team. He's unrestricted. He was an unrestricted free agent, so we were able to land him. So now that makes Greg Oden or DeAndre Jordan a lot more expendable, which I think we're going to go ahead and do. Greg Oden was awesome. So was DeAndre Jordan. So either way, we can keep one of them. Greg Oden has a lot more years on his contract, so I think it's a no-brainer to go ahead and move on from DeAndre Jordan. Get a starting, or just get a couple bench pieces, because we kind of have a starting lineup if we wanted it. Or 2 guard would probably be our best bet. So we're going to trade DeAndre Jordan. This is a eventful offseason, but we're trying to make things happen. So Mike Bridges, not Mikal, sorry. Udonis Haslam, Ariza, and Patrick Mills. So that gives us a starting 2 and a Point guard as a backup. Don't hate it. That might be the trade we do. Wilson Chandler, also at 25 years old. Don't hate that one as well. 13.5 points per game. Don't hate it. So we might do that trade. Ben Gordon. All right, so I'm definitely debating between those, and then Wesley Matthews on Portland, who could be our starting 2 guard. I don't hate that one either. So Wesley Matthews for DeAndre Jordan straight up. Sounds kind of nice. I think we're going to go ahead and do that one. We're going to go Wesley Matthews to be our starting 2 guard. I think he's actually going to be perfect next to Stephen Curry. So Wesley Matthews is going to go down once we move him to the 2, but I'm fine with it. I think he's better at the shooting guard spot. So now we have Steph, Wesley, Corey Brewer, Paul George. We still don't have a power forward, but we'll fix that here in a second, and then power forwards can go sign. So now I'm just going to go ahead and simply just sign some role players. I'm not looking to get anybody too crazy here. So like we got like Jason Smith. I don't know if I really like him as a starting forward. Jermaine O'Neal, Maurice Spates. I don't know if I love any of these guys as my starting power forward, but Andre Blatch could probably do the job at 12.7, and he actually shot nicely from 3. So let's go ahead and sign Andre Blatch to be that starting 4 next year. So we're going to be cool on that. And we can sign like George. He'll be our backup point guard. So we do have money to improve the bench, which is nice. So yeah, I'm feeling good about how this is going. So small forwards, not a lot of great options. So give me George Hill off the bench. I don't hate that. Or even like a Gerald Henderson. Let's go ahead and do that. And then George Hill, although, how much was he asking for? $7 million. He's restricted though, so he probably gets matched. And then we'll sign Spates as well. I mean, Spates, obviously. George Brooks, I'm cool. I don't really want George Brooks back. So Maurice Spates we're going to sign. And does it let me sign Gerald Henderson? It does. So that, just like that, we have a pretty incredible team. I'm actually feeling really good about what our roster is about to look like next year. Man, give me a small forward and I'm chilling. I saw Deshaun Stevenson. He's 6'5". We could also go just Ronald. Give me Brandon Rush, 6'6". Brandon Rush, he could be our backup 3 next year. And now we have ourselves an offseason. That was an offseason, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. Stephen Curry, Dwight Howard, Paul George up to a 70, or up to an 89, I apologize. Greg Oden, 82. Wesley Matthews, Andre Blatch. This should be a contender next year. I did not expect to get everything done in one offseason. Like, that was not the game plan. I was going to take everything slow and methodical. But when things approach you like that, I don't think you hesitate. I'm feeling pretty good about how that offseason just went. So this team right here is led by Mike D'Antoni, Stephen Curry, Wesley Matthews, Paul George, Andre Blatch, Dwight Howard, Greg Oden, Maurice Spates, Corey Brewer, and Gerald Henderson, and Brandon Rush if we need him for spot minutes as well. Yeah, this is an incredible lineup. I'll see you guys at the end of year number 3. I have a feeling we just may have built a dynasty in one offseason, but we'll see how the 2K simulation treats this team, but I'm feeling good about what it looks like. So at the end of this season, we're already stacking up the MVPs for Stephen Curry, which is really nice to see. Obviously, we gave him a really fantastic team. Executive goes to us, 66-16. The Thunder are still going to be a problem in our conference, though, so by no means are we just going to, like, dominate the West, because obviously, as we know, the Thunder have themselves a big 3 of their own with Harden, Russ, and KD. So we definitely have a problem. We got Portland in round 1. So let's take a look at the player stats for the end of the season. You had 30 and 11 from Stephen Curry, 18 from Paul George, 15. You had 15 and 12 from Dwight Howard, 12 from Andre Blatch, and then 9 from Maurice Spates, 8 from Oden, 6 from Brewer, and 5 from Gerald Henderson. So let's go ahead and see if we can beat the Portland Trailblazers in round 1. They have Brendan Roy, Batum, Aldridge, DeAndre Jordan. So we did make them better by giving them DeAndre Jordan, definitely. We got Wesley Matthews from them, that's right. So they have a pretty interesting squad of their own. Somebody occur around against them, and we are going to sweep them in 4. So that's a great start. And now we get the New Orleans Hornets. So I have Patrick Mills, Vince Carter, Al Weber, David West, Okafor, Thompson, JJ Hickson, and Trevor Ariza. Somebody occur around against them, and we're going to beat them in 5. And of course, as I mentioned, the Thunder are going to be a problem. They have their big 3 with Karolinko, Ibaka, Jeff Green. Very good team in Oklahoma City, so by no means it's going to be an easy matchup, but we do win game 1. They win game 2. We're up game 3, game 4, and game 5. We're in the finals. We get to play the Chicago Bulls, who have Derrick Rose, Korver, Luol Deng, Boozer, Joakim Noah. Game 1, they're up 1-0. We even it up. Game 3, they win. Game 4, they win. So it looks like Derrick Rose might be the better point guard, at least for right now, according to 2K at this moment, but we might be able to come back from 3-1 to win our first championship of this 10-year rebuild. So let's see if we can do just that. So we win that one. All we got to do is keep winning, backs against the wall, 1 game at a time. But the Bulls got off to a really hot start in this one. So unless we close the gap here soon, we might be done for, and we are going to lose in this one. So unfortunately, we do get to the finals, but we fell short. Bulls go on to win the championship. The biggest thing this offseason, of course, is going to be re-signing Stephen Curry. Let's go look at those historical changes again. So we got Suns and Hornets, nothing to do with us. Lottery time. Let's go see what's going on here. So Brooklyn gets number 1. They are now the Brooklyn Nets, no longer the New Jersey Nets. And we end up with pick. Actually, the Pacers get our picks. We don't even have a first round pick in this draft. Mike D'Antoni is still the head coach. We'll leave that the way it is. We'll sign JB Bickerstaff to be our assistant. Just kidding. He says no. We'll grab Mr. Peeler maybe, and we get Peeler, so we'll go ahead and take him. Coaching staff is full now. We can go straight to player options and figure out. I think Paul George and Steph are free. Actually, Paul George might have another year. He does. So we don't have to worry about Steph or Paul George just yet. But Stephen Curry, we do have to worry about. Of course, no brainer. We're going to re-sign him. No brainer. There's no doubts about it. So going to give him that 5-year deal. We're going to lock him up while we can. So Stephen Curry, welcome back, my friend. Obviously, no brainer there. And then shooting guards. I mean, I think we lost Gerald Henderson. I was like, actually, no, he's still here. So we have Steph Henderson. We have Wesley Matthews, Corey Brewer, Brandon Rush, and then we can actually move one of them to the 3. So I actually don't think we need to do anything this offseason. We're going to move Corey Brewer to the small forward. One of them can play small forward, of course. So we'll leave that the way it is. And then I don't think we have any free agent story about. I mean, this team is only going to keep getting better. We're still pretty young. So I feel like our window is like far from close. Although it's not the worst idea to maybe like sign someone as salary filler maybe in the future. So we got like Otto Fields here. So yeah, like somebody that we can maybe use in a trade later on. So like he has the most salary. So give me Otto Fields. I'll sign him to a 3-year deal. Maybe use his salary in the future. So we'll just kind of plan out for that. But player progression, curious to see what this is about to look like. Should look really good. So Paul George up to a 91. So we have 3 90s at the top of this already. Fields is actually up to an 82. So he might crack the rotation. Henderson, Brandon Rush going up still as well. So we're going to get straight into this next season. Rotation is going to stay the same, so probably just going to skip over the rotation. Obviously, you guys in the playoffs, I'm going to go load this 2014 draft class. I wish 2K's draft classes were good. That way, it's just like one-click thing. But no, instead, I have to search it through the creative finder. You know what I mean? So Steph once again wins another MVP, which is cool to see. And the bigger thing we did this season is we actually tied the Bulls record of 72-10. So as you can tell, this season went very, very well. First seed in the Western Conference. We're looking to go win a championship, though. We don't want to just go ahead and sit here and not win a championship after this type of performance. It doesn't matter if you don't get it done in the playoffs. So Phoenix in round 1, they have Goran Dragic, Richardson, Dunleavy, Dudley, Channing Frye, Reggie Jackson. Somebody in current round against the Suns, and they are going to maybe upset us, but just kidding, we beat them in 6. Now we get the Kings, who obviously have Chris Paul, okay, and DeMarcus Cousins. So a really nice pairing there. Omri Caspi, Anthony Morrow, Derek Williams is there. Bino Udre, Chris Humphries, and they have Damian Lillard as well. So pretty interesting. Somebody in current round against the Kings, and we are going to beat them in 6. So now we get the Thunder, who we actually ended up beating last year, but obviously things can change. They may beat us this time around as they have our guy, Draymond Green. So they got the Greens off the bench with Draymond and Jeff Green. Somebody current round against them, and we sweep them. So I guess we own the Oklahoma City Thunder so far. And now we get the Wizards. So obviously we lost last year in the finals. We lost to the Bulls. But now we get the Wizards. We have Nick Young, John Wall, Booker, McGee, Jamal Crawford, Augustine. I mean, I think this is a team we could beat to win our first championship of the video. And just like that, we get Stephen Curry his first ring in this one where we win in 5 games. So looking really good there as far as retirements are concerned. We're going to leave this all the way it is. We're not going to override any of those, obviously, historic changes. So Rising Stars game will now be USA versus World. So we got team branding. So our team changed the uniforms and 4 of the Golden State Warriors. So it looks like we changed a little bit here. Charlotte changes, and then to the Charlotte Hornets. And then you got the Kings changing the uniforms and 4 of the Kings. Okay, straight to the lottery go. This isn't going to matter for us too much. Pistons number 1, Grizzlies number 2, Jazz number 3. But of course, we want to still stay on top of the world right now. We don't want to just be complacent. So how can we improve and get better? I don't know if there's any way to get better because we're 72-10. One thing we have to do is Paul George must be re-signed. So that's a big thing. But like we could maybe, look to make the next big move if we wanted to. So we might do that. So let's go straight to player options. And let's see what this is looking like. So player options. Did we have a draft pick? We did. We got Maxi Kleba. I actually don't mind that. Player options, nothing there. And then qualifying offers. Paul George, obviously big free agent we got to bring back. So no brainer there. Cousins free agent. Corey Brewer is also free agent. So we're going to go ahead, re-sign Paul George. And then we're going to re-sign Corey Brewer to a 4-year deal. He can be locked up. Paul George gets an offer. We're going to go ahead and match that, of course. So Paul George, Steph, Corey Brewer, going to keep those guys all together for a year. And then power forwards, you got like Maurice Space you can bring back. Still 26, so we're going to bring him back as well. And now I want to try to make a potential big trade this offseason, maybe. Just try to make our team even better. Let's get the rich and make them richer. So we got Wesley Matthews still. We have Otto Fields. Both of them. Wesley Matthews is on a 1-year deal. I do love his fit here. But again, you could always try to improve. So I think we're going to try to make a big trade using Wesley Matthews contracts to maybe improve that 2 spot or even the 3 spot if we think we could move Paul George to the 2. So Wesley Matthews and let's say Otto Fields, we signed him for this reason, and Kleba. What would that get me at the 2 spots? We could bring back Monte Ellis, Alec Burks at 23. CJ McCollum, of course, we know what he can become. Paul Millsap also being offered is interesting, but he's 29 at this point. Ty Lawson, and then Tyreek Evans, 24-year-old Tyreek Evans. And we get a 2015 first-round pick. 19 points per game. That 2015 first-round pick is actually looking kind of rich. We're going to do this trade. We're going to get Tyreek Evans at 24 years old and that 2015 first-round pick. That could be pretty valuable. We do move Otto Fields and Wesley Matthews in this scenario and Kleba. But we're going to do this trade. We're going to try to keep getting better. So Tyreek Evans is going to be our new starting 2 next to Steph. And that will be what we do there. We do need a backup guard. So we'll sign Gerald Henderson back, who's, played the last couple years here. So we'll give him a 4-year deal to lock him up long term. So just kidding, goes Milwaukee. Okay, shooting guards, Ben Gordon, Connor. We got what? Luke Ridnour, who wasn't Luke Ridnour traded like 5 times at the deadline at one time? Nate Robinson. Give me Nate Robinson if he'll sign. He probably won't. Boom, he does come back, or he comes to the team. Ben Gordon, we'll sign him as well to a nice contract, and we'll just have 2 backup guards on 1-year deals going into this season. But we have Nate Robinson going down, Ben Gordon stay the same, Maurice Bates, Corey Brewer, Andre Blatch, Greg Oden, Tyreek Evans. So that's all looking really, really good. So I will see you guys at the end of next season. We're going to load this 2015 draft class again. Rotation changed a little bit with Tyreek Evans, obviously. But we try to get better, and we also improved on our asset pool because that 2015 pick might become really good, which is what we're looking forward to potentially. So Steph wins his 3rd MVP in a row, which is really nice to see. Other than that, let's get straight into these playoffs. Makes All-NBA first team, of course. We're only the 2nd seed in the West this time around, though. So obviously we went ahead and made a change in the offseason. It led to maybe making us a little bit worse. I don't know. We'll see when in the playoffs. Tyreek Evans was 17, 14 and 12 from Dwight Howard, 12 from Andre Blatch, 8.5 from Oden. We also extended Oden at the contract extension deadline, so I'm happy to have him back for 3 more years. Spades, Brewer, and then Nate Robinson. So Lakers in the in the first round. I don't know why I was skipping to the Western Conference Finals. They just have Kobe, Al Horford, Pau Gasol. They also have Dinwiddie, so it could be a tough matchup, and we are going to beat them in 7. I thought we were getting eliminated in round 1 for a second, but we actually come back. Now we get to play the Timberwolves. Obviously, we try to get Kevin Love from them earlier. They have Bradley Beal, they have Enes Kanter, they have Iguodala, so it's a pretty solid team in Minnesota with Michael Beasley off the bench, Dennis Schroeder. Somebody come around against them, and we're going to beat them in 5. And now we get to play the Kings, who of course have Chris Paul, as we saw last year with Crawford, Derek Williams, Caspi, Marcus Cousins, and Damian Lillard. So somebody come around against them, and we're gonna lose in 6. So we actually do not win a championship this time around. We got the Bulls and the Kings, and the Kings actually going to win it this time. Cousins is your Finals MVP. So unfortunately for us, we lost. So it sucks, but it's what happens sometimes. So historic changes. We're going to have a lot of changes, actually. Division winners will no longer automatically get to top 3 playoff seeds in each conference. Introduce an incremental luxury tax. Change the logos for these teams here. So a lot of logo changes. Cool. Lottery night. Let's go ahead and see what this is going to look like. So we actually got that 2015 pick, and it ended up being number 20. So unfortunately, it wasn't as good as I thought it could have been. The pick at the time was pretty valuable, but unfortunately it did not work out. So I kind of wonder what draft classes. This is the Cat D-Lo. Okay. And so Miles Turner, Devin Booker. I don't know if there's anybody here that I'm like dying. I mean, I would love to get Devin Booker. Like if I get Devin Booker out of this draft, I would like feel pretty phenomenal about that. Just kind of like think about the future a little bit. If I can find a way to move up into the top 5 and get one of these 5 guys here. Although the only guy I really want is Devin Booker, to be honest with you. So maybe we wait till next year's draft to try to make a big move to move up. So yeah, I think we're gonna wait on that. Let's go straight to draft night, and let's just try to draft a couple good rookies here. So I'm curious to see where Devin Booker went, because I would have probably tried to trade for like 5. He actually goes all the way to 5. So all right, he actually went 6. So we may have been able to get Devin Booker in this draft, but it's all good. So we got Terry Rozier as an option here, Kevon Looney, who obviously ended up on the Warriors in real life. So but I think Rozier as a backup point guard makes a lot of sense right now. We definitely need one. And then at number 28, Montrezl Harrell still here. Rodney Perkins, Royce O'Neal as a nice role player. I thought that was Derek White, or Norm Powell is still here as well. Let's go Norm Powell, and also Terry Rozier. That's actually feeling pretty good. I don't hate those at all. We're gonna get a 73 and a 69. Norm Powell being a 69 might feel a little disrespectful, but it's all good. Player options, qualifying offers, Zerb, or however you say his name, is a free agent, and then Chris Paul might leave the Kings. Andre Blatch is a free agent right now. So we'll figure out what we want to do with him, but he's our best option, it looks like. So we're going to go ahead, use our bird rights to re-sign him. We're trying to stay a contending team, so I don't want to just lose him for nothing. So we're going to sign him to a deal, and then we got to figure out what we're going to do now. So We have 7 Curry Rozier. We have Tyreek Evans. Steph is up to 27 years old. Tyreek Evans, 25 years old. I almost kind of want to trade him because I'm not really sure he's the best fit going forward. Norman Powell we just got, of course. Maurice Spates, Andre Blatch, and then Greg Oden, Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard has 1 year left in his contract as well, so it's something to think about. Maybe we could trade Dwight Howard. It's not something I was going to do, but 29 years old, 1 year left in his deal. Maybe we could go ahead and flip Dwight Howard into something right now and not have to worry about resetting him in the future. So I actually like a lot of the trades that we have offered here. I mean, we got guys like Luol Deng and Joakim Noah being offered to us. Right now, potentially, this one might be my favorite trade where we walk away with Gordon Hayward and Jonas Valanciunas. But there's another interesting one that I don't know if I could pass up on for the culture, and it's this one. We get Klay Thompson to pair next to Stephen Curry. Obviously, as we know what these two did together, it only feels right. It doesn't feel great trading Dwight Howard for Klay Thompson straight up. I'm not going to lie. We get TJ Warren as a throw in, but I would, if I can get like a first round pick or two out of this, I'll pull the trigger. But I don't know if I can pull the trigger on just this straight up. They're going to say no. What about just one pick? I'll take this future pick off you. We might have to do the Gordon Hayward, Jonas Valanciunas trade because it actually makes, I think, a lot more sense to do that. Although I want Klay next to Steph, it feels like getting Gordon Hayward. I think we got to do the other trade. I think we do. Unfortunately, it's probably the better trade to do. We get 2 for 1. Let's do that trade instead. I wanted Klay, but I don't know. Some people might hate me for this, but we do have to trade Corey Brewer, which I think is fine. But we get Gordon Hayward, who's a really good role player, 89 overall. Obviously was a star in his own right at some point in his career. And then Jonas Valanciunas as a starting 5 at 23 years old. We're going to go ahead and do that. So we move on to Dwight Howard. We get an 89 Gordon Hayward. Obviously, that's going to maybe change some things here. So Joe Val, Greg Oden is the center position I will figure out. We're going to move Paul George to the 2. He does go down, but we can live with that. And then that's going to move Tyreek Evans out of the building. So what are we going to do with Tyreek Evans? Could have him as a really good 6th man, but he's on the last year of his deal. Gordon Hayward's that new 3. So let's just see what Tyreek Evans gets us. I mean, maybe Klay is offered to me straight up for Tyreek Evans. I don't know if I'll get that lucky, but if we did, I'd pull the trigger. Gasol is being offered to me. Paul Millsap, Omri Caspi, Aflalo, Porter, Smart. I don't think I'm getting that lucky. Ty Lawson. DeMar DeRozan at 25 years old is interesting. I mean, Tyreek Evans is also 25. Toronto, DeMar DeRozan off the bench. Sounds fun. Fred Owens, Brandon Roy. Okay, I'm not really sure what I want here for Tyreek. I almost just want to sell him for like future draft picks, like a young piece, but that's not really being offered to me in this scenario. I don't know if there's anything else I could do. Maybe we trade. Maybe we wait for I mean, what he's got, like, is that a team option on the next year? It's a player option. So I'd almost love to use him on draft night to make like a big trade move up in the draft kind of thing. Maybe it's just best if we keep him. I don't know if I love any of these offers that were being offered so far. Unless Klay pops up, I might. Devin Booker's interesting. We get a future pick. We got to trade 2 first, though. Devin Booker might go up like crazy. DeMar DeRozan, I do like the idea of. Nicholas Batum. I think we'll keep Tyreek Evans as like a 6th man. I don't know if like that's the best thing to do right now, but I think that's what we're going to do. So we might need a better small forward, but we can go ahead and get that. So I'll sign Craig Smith, whatever, to be our backup 3. So we'll sign that. So we obviously consolidated Dwight Howard. We signed him for a little bit. We could have kept him going forward, but I mean, he might have gone down. Paul George, of course, moved into the 2. Hayward is in the building now. Evans, Andre Blatch, Joe Val. There's still more work to be done. Maybe at the trade deadline, we trade Tyreek Evans for like a better 5. Maybe trade Joe Val Evans for like a center that's out there. We'll see. And obviously, the 2016 draft class is something we can also look into if we wanted to trade up in that draft. So there's a lot of different options on the table at this moment. Steph has literally won every MVP throughout the video so far, which is just kind of crazy. But D'Antoni, and then obviously we went 66 and 16 this year. So things went very well this year, as you can tell. So we take a look at the player stats. You had 31 from Steph, 20 from Paul George, 15 from Tyreek Evans, and then 15 from Gordon Hayward. I will tell you right now, throughout the video, I think Steph and Paul George are safe. Everyone else, there's always a chance we can move on from them if we feel the need to. So Denver in round 1, they have Ty Lawson, Corey Maggette, Carmelo still there, Taj Gibson, Drummond, Gobert. Pretty interesting team in Denver. Let's see if we can beat them, and we are going to sweep them. And now we get the Kings, who eliminated us last year, but they no longer have Chris Paul. Instead, they have Damian Lillard, who actually hasn't really progressed like I would think he would. Only an 82 overall. So far, he's not really turned into, what the Damian Lillard we all know. But somebody current round against the Kings, and they may still have our number regardless without Chris Paul. So Marcus Cousins might be our problem. Maybe the way we fix that is maybe we trade for DeMarcus Cousins in the offseason. I don't know. I'm just saying. But we might be able to even this up and force a game 7 and then win. We'll see. So we are looking good here unless we blow it, which, wow, we did blow it. 2K kind of tricked me there. We blew it at the end. So only one championship so far. The Wizards are actually go on to win the championship as John Wall, 38 points per game, 12 assists as your finals MVP. Absolutely insane. But yeah, we still got a lot of work to do, it looks like. Rashard Lewis retires a Warrior. Historic changes. Always love looking at these. Kings change. Jazz are changing. Draft lottery. We don't have a pick here. And I don't know if I'm going to trade up in this draft. Charlotte's got number 1. Staff signing. Let's see what we got going on here. Mike D'Antoni. I mean, we've keep having success with him. We won a championship with him before, so I'll stay loyal to him for now. But I'm going to fill out this coaching staff, and then I'll see you guys with the next step of this process, because we might have hit a little bit of a wall, and we got to figure out how to get out of that. Tyreke Evans is going to decline his player option, which is a big thing here, which is why I thought about trading him, but of course I decided against it. Dwight Howard we did have at one point, but we're not bringing him back. Tyreke Evans, I mean, I think we go ahead and bring him back. We don't just want to lose him for nothing, so we're going to sign Tyreke Evans. Just kidding, he's going to accept another offer. He actually goes to New Orleans, where I think he obviously was originally was at one point in his real life career. So we lose Tyreke Evans, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, he was kind of an awkward fit anyway, so I don't hate that we lost him for nothing. It does suck, don't get me wrong. But I think I want to try to upgrade my 5 spot as best as I can. I think that's where I'm kind of at. So we're going to try to get a legitimate 5. I mean, some guy I've thought about was like DeMarcus Cousins, but let's just see what the trade market offers me if I try to trade my 2 centers. So this isn't exactly what I was looking for, but we're going to be doing this trade with the Dallas Mavericks. We're going to get Devin Booker and Marcus Smart, 2 guys on rookie scale contracts. Obviously, we got to start thinking about the future a little bit here as well. And Booker's probably going to progress like crazy this offseason anyway. We do trade both our big men, but I have a way of potentially fixing that. So we're going to do this trade with the Mavericks. They try to go for a more win now mode there with those 2 guys. And we're going to have Devin Booker at our 2 spot. Now that moves Paul George back to the 3. And then we can move on from Gordon Hayward for a 5, which is what I plan on doing. So Gordon Hayward, thank you for your service this year. But now that we have Marcus Smart, Devin Booker, we could probably trade Gordon Hayward for a legitimate 5-man. And we are going to be starting. Actually, we still have Andre Blatch as our 4 if we want it. So Matt Hill, Josh Smith, Julius Randle, Corey Brewer, Gallinari. So far, no 5 has been offered to me. Warwick, Sabonis. If Sabonis, I mean, is he a rookie or is he going to go up a little bit? Maybe I wouldn't mind Sabonis. Okay. Sabonis actually may not be a bad option. He just got drafted, I think, actually, now I think about it. So Nurkic as a young center, but I'm kind of probably looking more of a guy that can win, help us win now. Ibaka is like perfect. So if the Thunder thought maybe they can move on from Ibaka, we get Ibaka and also Daniel Tias. I think we do that. Greg Monroe also being offered McGee. But we're going to do this trade with the Thunder. We get Serge Ibaka and Daniel Tias as our new center rotation. So now we have obviously Smart and Devin Booker, which is nice. We can move one of them to the 2 if we want, or one of them back up if we wanted to. Andre Blatch and Murray Spates. We have not had a good starting 4 throughout the video. It's always been Andre Blatch. So obviously I would love to fix that if I can this offseason as well. And we actually have cap space now, now that we've done some trades here. So is there anybody here that I'm like dying to sign? Damian Lillard is a free agent. How we have so many guards though as it is. I mean, I guess Devin Booker as our future is interesting. Him backing up Stephen Curry is definitely a curveball. He's not progressed much, man. Like, I guess in this hypothetical world, he has not gone up, but I don't know. It feels kind of weird to also sign him because, I don't know, just like, I don't know. I'm not going to do it. We're going to try to trade Andre Blatch, though, and we're going to see what we can get for maybe, like, throwing him. Let's say we threw Norman Powell and Andre Blatch out there. Does that give me, like, a better 4 somewhere? I think we're going to do this trade with the New York Knicks. We get Danilo Gallinari, who could be the starting 4 next year, and we're also getting a first-round pick. So let's go ahead and do this trade with the Knicks. Get our power forward next season. Be 6. He actually goes down if I'm moving to power forward, but whatever. At this point, we don't really have a choice. He's going to have to play the 4. So we'll do that. We'll have him be the power forward. So now we have a rotation of Steph, Rozier. We have Booker and Marcus Smart. We have Paul George. We have Gallinari and Murray Spates. And we have Serge Ibaka and Daniel Tias. So we definitely need to sign a small forward. Now, we do maybe even have more money now. Kevin Love, we're $10 million off from being able to go ahead and give him a contract offer. Or even Blake Griffin. $5 million free up money for Blake Griffin. Is there anybody else that's like an obvious trade candidate? Like, no. I mean, I just brought in all these guys, so it doesn't make any sense to just go ahead and trade them immediately. So we're not going to do that. I can sign like Terrence Ross to be our backup small forward, 6-man. Give me Terrence Ross. I don't mind that. So we're going to go Terrence Ross. We're going to sign him to a nice deal. He'll be our backup small forward going into next season. Nice 6-man. And we definitely have retooled things. We've gotten younger a little bit. But I'm hoping the player progression pays off by doing it. And we're not, he's actually already listed as small forward. So player progression, let's take a look at what this is going to look like. A lot of changes here. But D-Book goes up to 79 as I thought. So I think he's going to continue to be really good, obviously. But Stephen D-Book is nasty. Paul George still only 26. Ibaka 26. Gallinari is down. Don't know if Gallinari is going to be like our long-term power forward, but we got that extra first out of it. So we can always maybe look to make a big trade if we wanted to. But I'm feeling good. So let's go ahead and load this 2017 draft class. And I will see you guys at the end of the season. For the first time, Stephen Curry does not win an MVP in this video. It felt like he won every single year other than maybe year one. But he's, of course, is still making an All-NBA first team. Also, we did extend him in the contract extension deadline. It made all the sense in the world to go ahead and do that. We're going to keep Stephen Curry throughout the video. So we're the second seed in the West. So still a very competitive team out West. Top contender in the West, of course. Devin Booker with 19. So obviously already really good. Paul George only 18. 14 from Gallinari. 13 from Terrence Ross. 8.5. And then 10. And also 3 blocks from Serge Ibaka. Of course, they used to call him Serge Ibaka. But Phoenix in round 1. Let's see how they do. Goran Dragic, Booker, Boyd, Vesely, Cat. Someone in current round against them. And we are going to beat them in 5. So now we get New Orleans, who have Jose Alcaron, Mike Bridges, Michael Beasley, Randall, Tristan Thompson, and David West, and Jeremy Lamb. So someone in current round against them. And we're going to beat them in 7. That was a close one. We're back in the Western Conference Finals. And now we get the Thunder, who still have Russ, Harden, Durant, and they have Draymond. They have Gordon Hayward, who we gave to them as well for Serge. So this will be a tough one. Game 1, we're down 1-0. Let's go game 2. We're not going to simcast yet. Game 2, 2-0. Game 3, we win. Game 4, we're down 3-1. So we might be done here. 3-1 deficit. We got to come back from 3-1. Let's see if we can do just that. Now, the Warriors did do this, obviously, as we know, before Kevin Durant joined the Warriors. So maybe we could do it again. Maybe we can get Kevin Durant to join us again. Just kidding. We lose 110-124. Thunder Hawks. Thunder going to win the championship. So I believe we've only won 1 championship throughout the video. We got to fix that, man. Obviously, as we know, Steph won multiple championships. We're not off to, we're not doing a great job, I think. So, wow, a lot of things changed here. Like an absolute lot. Nothing changed for us, though. But, yeah, we got work to do. So, Jazz number 1. The Mavericks have our pick here from that trade with Devin Booker and all that. But they're going to go up, so I'm not worried about that. We got to figure out what we need to do to make this work. Like, what is going to put us over the top and be able to win multiple championships to end the video. If I can get Avery Johnson as my assistant head coach, sign me up for that. So Avery Johnson can be my assistant, which I'm feeling good about. But now it's time to make the move that's going to push us as a top contender. We already are a contender, obviously, but I want to try to be the team that no one can beat. Like, that's obviously what we need to get to at this point. And I think it starts with this trade right here. We're going to be trading Serge Ibaka, Terrence Ross, and our 2018 first-round pick. We get Roy Hibbert and Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin, to me, is a no-brainer. We get our brand-new power forward. We haven't had a good power forward throughout the video, so we're doing this trade. So, now we have Blake Griffin, who could be our new starting power forward. It was Gallinari. Blake Griffin, to me, is a no-brainer. Pair him with Paul George and Steph. And we're going to leave these guys probably as our big 3 for the rest of the video and try to win multiple championships that way. Roy Hibbert, not really sure I want to keep him. Obviously, Devin Booker's only going to keep progressing as well. Roy Hibbert, though, not really sure I want him to be my starting 5. He's not bad, but he's 30 years old. So I wonder if I can get something different for him. We're going to see if a new center would pop up, potentially. Vucevic, Hickson, Bogut, Joakim Noah at 32. I'm kind of looking for maybe a younger center at Ibaka. We can just get right back. Joe Johnson, Verdette, Corey Brewer, Andre Blatch, Greg Oden, Brook Lopez, Darren Collison, Andre Bargnani, Parker, Kenneth Boyd, Enes Kanter at 25, but not really my ideal choice, and JaVale McGee. So far, I don't see anything too crazy. So we're just going to wait till after the draft. So player options, I don't believe we had a draft pick. We had Guerrero, but I'm not worried about him. Paul George declined. Smart, Booker, Rozier are going to accept all of those. Qualifying offers, Daniel Tice, somebody I wouldn't mind back. And then Paul George, to me, no-brainer. We got to bring him back. We're going to offer him a deal, and we are going to get him back. So that's awesome. So I was kind of worried about maybe losing him, but we get him back. I'll resign Tice as well. So Paul George, Daniel Tice. Now I have Blake Griffin, Paul George, and Stephen Curry as our big 3 for probably the last 3 or so seasons we have left. I don't exactly know how many, but we do have like a couple or 3 seasons left. So now we have Gallinari, Maurice Bates, and we have Roy Hibbert, Daniel Tice. So I think I want to try to consolidate Gallinari, Maurice Bates, and then like maybe even Daniel Tice into a better 5. If Roy Hibbert's our backup 5, fine. But I would love to see if I can get a better center than Roy Hibbert as our starter. I'm going to send these 3 guys over for Andre Drummond and see what the Nuggets say about that. They don't agree to it right away. I'm not trying to give up too much for Andre Drummond, but Andre Drummond He's a stud in 2K, man. He's an 89 overall. I mean, if we can get... Okay, I'm doing it. Drummond, I think, is going to be the recipe for success. 23 years old, double-double machine. Before, you know, Drummond obviously fell off once he was traded from Detroit. He was a beast in the 2K simulation, averaging 2 blocks, double every single year. Roy Hibbert is our backup 5. Blake Griffin, Paul George. Guard rotation's good. We just need to sign a good forward, and we are chilling. So, Yi Jillian. I wish this was Kevin Love, but of course it's not. It's Willie Love. We got... Michael Kidd Gilchrist, who never turned in anything, but you know what? He's only 25, might progress, and he doesn't have to be like a shooter off the bench for us, so I'm fine with that. So that is our offseason. I'm hoping it works out. Drummond and Blake Griffin play together once upon a time in Detroit as well, but this is our team probably for the rest of the video, potentially. May not be. Booker did not go up as much as I wanted him to, but he's an 82 still, nonetheless. We have pretty much have 490s at the very top. I'm trying to end this video with championships back to back to back. That's where I'm at. So hoping for that. Let's go ahead and load this draft class. Let's actually look at the rotation, because this is obviously going to look a lot newer. And I haven't really been showing the rotation because the fact I have to load the draft class every time and I always forget to. Sometimes when I do what I just did, I forget to fix it. But Steph, Devin Booker, Paul George, Blake Griffin, Drummond, Roy Hibbert, Smart, MKG, and Rozier. Bench falls off a little bit, but I still think we can win championship this year. So hopefully we can end this video with winning multiple championships to end this one. 69-13 at the end of this one. We're the first team in the Western Conference again. So let's go ahead and take a look at the player stats. 25 from Steph, 20 from Devin Booker, 18 and 10 from Blake Griffin, 17 from Paul George with 6 rebounds. And Drummond, of course, what I wanted him to do. He's averaged a double-double, be an absolute beast on the glass, and he did just that. So now we get to play the Lakers in round 1. They do have Kobe still. They have Chris Dunn as their starting point guard, Al Horford, Pau Gasol, Chris Humphries. Let's see if we can beat them in round 1. As I told you guys, the goal is to try to win a championship throughout the rest of the video in every single season. The Blazers, they have Michael Carter-Williams, Brandon Roy, Batum, Aldridge, Greg Monroe. Can we beat them? And we are going to sweep them. So far, so good. And now we get the Thunder, who obviously are still going to be a problem. Gordon Hayward's still there. So we current round. We're down 3-1. So maybe we're not going to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, but let's give it our best shot to see if we can maybe come back from 3-1. Maybe we're going to be able to do just that. We shall see, but it's not looking good. Maybe we kind of took the lead for a second, but the Thunder are running away with it now. Unless if we take it at the end, which we don't, we lose again in the conference finals to the Thunder. So the Raptors are going to beat the Thunder. I think we get one more season on this, if I'm not mistaken. Kobe Bryant retires a Laker, as he should. Historic changes. We're going to go ahead and leave those all the way they are. And I think the biggest thing for me is, I think we move on from Mike D'Antoni. Not saying it's his problem or it's his fault, but at this point, we keep losing, so we might as well just try to change something here. So head coach, Greg Popovich. I mean, if I can get Greg Popovich, I will, but I don't think we have enough money to get him. So probably not going to be able to get him. Jay Triano. What other head coaches do we have in his option? Drew, George Karl. I mean, I'll sign George Karl, I guess, if we can get him maybe. So Karl, get a new head coach here. Welcome to the team, George Karl. Let's go straight to player options. I don't think we have a draft pick. If we do, it's probably really late. Yeah, we don't have a draft pick. Player options. We are going to have Devin Booker, Rozier. Again, we could accept those. Qualifying offers, Marcus Smart. I definitely want to bring him back if possible. Embiid as a free agent. Don't have enough money for a guy like Embiid. Smart, I'm going to go ahead and give a contract offer to, and then we're not losing anybody important in free agency, so that's great. I mean, at this point, I think it's just a matter of hoping guys develop. I mean, Booker and Marcus Smart, Rozier are the guys that we're kind of banking on to be better. And then we could trade Roy Hibbert, but he's got like 2 years left in his deal. I think we have 2 years left in this rebuild. So if we can win 2 more championships to make it 3 in this video, that'd be awesome. Get Plumlee has 2 years left in the deal as another first-round pick. I think we're better off just trying to keep Roy Hibbert, and you know he's got 2 years left, so we can just roll with him for the rest of the video. So just go straight to player progression and just hope Booker and Marcus Smart are going up like crazy. Booker, he's up to an 84. It's not like crazy jump. Hibbert's down, Smart is up, Rozier's up, and MKG is up. So we'll just hope that next season goes our way. I'm not even going to worry about the draft class at this point. We're not looking to add anybody, so I'll just use 2K's draft class and call it good. So let's just see how this goes at the end of this one. We have a new coach. It's George Karl. Does anything change? We shall see. But this is the starting 5, and this is the rest of the rotation. We're going to 9-man, of course. I'll see you guys at the end of the second to last season. So the second to last season here, we finish up as the first team in the West. Once again, 24 and 10 from Stephen Curry, 19 from D-Book, 18 and 10 from Paul George, 18 from Blake Griffin, 17 from Paul George, and then 12 and 11 from Andre Drummond. So here we go. Memphis in round 1. They have Mike Conley, Middleton, Simon, Thad Young, and Marcus Gasol, and Miles Turner. So Mike Kerr around against them, and we are going to beat them in 5. Now we get Minnesota. Schroeder, Bradley Beal, Iguodala, Kevin Love, Enes Kanter, Deadman. We're going to beat them in 5. And now, of course, it's the Thunder, the team that's been stumping us this whole time. Now, they did lose somebody. Actually, Draymond's just not starting for them anymore, so I don't think they lost anybody. Albert Iverson is starting for them now to make our round. And we're going to actually beat them this time. Wow, we finally beat them, and now we get to play the 76ers. Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, who's gone up like crazy. Derek Favors, Bismack Biyombo, Hickson, Monty Clement. Can we win it here? Yes, okay. We get another championship in this video. Blake Griffin is your finals MVP. Simply going to run it back one more year. Let's try to win another championship to end this video off. All right, man. Final season here to get a 3rd championship in this 10-year rebuild. We are the first team in the West again. Final player stats to end off this video is what it looked like. Devin Booker got up to an 86 overall. Here at the very end, Paul George 93, Steph, of course, 95. So here we go. Sacramento in round 1. None. Tyreek Evans, Derek Williams, Casper, and DeMarcus Cousins. Somebody come around against them. They win game 1. Gave us a little bit of a scare there, but we beat them in 6. And now we get Minnesota. Beat them last year. Don't know if they changed too much. They look relatively the same. And we beat them again. And now it's for the Thunder again. Russell Westbrook, Harden, Durant. Did they lose Draymond? No, he hasn't gone up at all, though, I noticed. Let's see if we can beat them this time. We sweep them again. So, Raptors, who have Chris Paul, DeRozan, Kawhi, AD, and Andre Bargnani. Okay. Jeremy Grant, one. I don't think we're... And they also have Bo... What was his name in the movie? I forget. It's Bo something. Bo Cruz. That's right. Bo Cruz. They also have Bo Cruz. Okay. Yeah, I don't like my chances here, but you never know. We lose in 6. So, Toronto, that was a squad they had. But... regardless, still a fun 10-year rebuild in the LeBron era. If you guys want to see me continue these, let me know down in the comment section below. If you don't, that's fine as well. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I'll see y'all in the next video. This is Crushables. I'm saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.